What's up YouTube? Today I want to show you how to make switches in Vital. So essentially I want to switch on different things within the plugin using a single macro. Let's dive in and have a look. So the concept is pretty simple. We're going to be doing this with Mod Remaps. And yeah, I thought it would just be cool to show you guys because it's so expandable, and it's a pretty cool thing, you know, for if you write like a synth sound, being able to jump like within multiple different sounds to create like grids and stuff. It's a really cool thing. Anyway, let's have a look at what I'm talking about. So essentially, let's say for example, I want to start with creating a switch to turn on and off this level control. So what we'll do is we'll assign the macro to the level, jump over to the mod matrix, and here let's just draw in a shape like this, a square. So now what happens is when this is below 50%, the oscillator is off. I'm busy triggering my key now and you're hearing nothing. And as it goes over 50%, you hear there's something playing. So how we can expand this is, let's say for example, we create like a macro that switches between multiple oscillators. I think that could be really cool. So let's say for example, when it's within this first quadrant, well, it wouldn't be a quadrant, it would be divided by 8, whatever that's called, let me know in the comments. We would have oscillator 1 playing, and then let's say for example, assign this macro to the level, jump over to the mod matrix. Let's turn all these bars down and let's just turn the second one up. So now, as you can see, as the value goes above this point, it's going to turn on the second oscillator. So what we can do, just so we can differentiate between them, let's actually put this onto a basic shape so we can turn this to like a square. I'm going to turn the volume down of this a bit. Cool. So let's just expand this a little bit. Let's say, for example, do another one for oscillator 3. Jump into the mod matrix, turn all of these down, turn the third one up. Let's set a different sound here. Cool. So let's do a noise oscillator as well. That can be our fourth one. So let's assign this to the volume, and then we can go over to the matrix, and then we can just turn the slider up like this. So here what I want to do is, because I want to use the full range of this control, let's go in and turn up like the, say for example, it'll be like 2 and 6, 3 and 7, 4 and 8, if that makes sense. Not sure if I'm talking sense today. I haven't had coffee. This is day 1 of no coffee. Yeah, let's see what we're doing here. So what we can do is we could use this, for example, we've got 2 states in which each of these sounds play. We could have one where they go through the filters in filter 1, and then another one where they go through the filters in filter 2. So we could just, let's just assign all of these like this. And how this would work is, let's just turn the mix down of the 1. Let's do a high pass and a band pass. We can start with a high pass, then the mix down of the band pass. And then as it goes above 50%, it'll like switch the mix like that. Yeah. So then we'd have to assign this to filter 1 like this. Then let's jump into the mod matrix and we just assign it so that it's like 50-50 like this. So now we've got a switch that switches between the 4 oscillators, and then it switches to the second filter 4 oscillators. Okay, so here's where we start getting experimental. Once we've kind of set it up like this, I should actually probably save this as a template. Let's just call this switch template 1. We could start getting experimental and looking at like crafting each of these kind of like 8 sounds within this kind of like template that we've created. With this one, we could do like a bit of a squelchy thing. What I actually want to do is we could create a filter inside this oscillator's wavetable. So let's open this up. Let's create a frequency filter like this. Let's set this over to a band pass, and then we can create the range at which we want to sweep here. So on this one we could maybe do like a FM type of thing. I might have a shape that's already a FM. Yeah, that's pretty cool. So here with this sample layer, what we can do is we can actually set like a random on the pitch. Let's turn the pitch all the way down, and then let's set a random on the pitch, and then let's also set a different random onto the frequency of our bandpass filter. So obviously the ones that are going through this filter are louder than the ones that are going through this filter. And how we can counteract that is we can actually jump back into these modulation lanes and turn the first one down compared to the second one. And then it will be softer. Cool, we're getting there. Let's just call this one oscillator state. What we can do is we can save this as state switch 1. Terrible spelling. Anyway, now let's look at effects. So for now I'm just going to put on a bunch of random effects and not worry too much about modulating them and stuff. We can dive back a little bit further into that a little bit later on in the video. Here what I want to do is I want to assign, for example, something like a note on random to the oscillator state switch. And then what we've done now is essentially we've created a thing where every time we hit a note, it generates us a new patch. So this is useful for, you know, like sound effects context or melodic lead kind of contexts. So you could go further and do a bunch of kind of state switches for effects and all sorts of stuff. Here's a preset that I created. It's part of an upcoming bank that I'm working on for Vital. So this is a similar concept, but with a bunch of state switches on the oscillators and a bunch of state switches on the effects and random modulators to switch between them. And I will actually post this preset, just a single preset, to my Patreons for all my $5 supporters as well as the previous one that I mentioned. So I won't be able to break this one down and show you exactly how it's made because it's just so kind of like advanced. But the concept is exactly the same as I showed you previously, except I've kind of expanded it to effects state switches as well. Cool, that's about it. I hope you guys enjoyed that. Like I said, I'm going to be posting that preset to my Patreon for all my $5 supporters. So if you want to know what that's all about, check out the link in the description. Yeah, if you like this video, hit that like button. And if you haven't yet, consider subscribing to my channel. See you guys next time. Cheers.